I'm Hal Fishman. News at 10 coming up in just a moment here on Channel 5. The Los Angeles Dodgers need just one more victory to win the World Series. We're going to have highlights and interviews from Stu Nahan on tonight's exciting Dodger victory over the Oakland A's. 2 airline crashes within the past 24 hours take a heavy death toll. 7 soldiers are killed in a suicide bomb attack. 5 earthquakes are felt in the state of California, 4 right here in the Southland. And Robin Givens tells Mike Tyson, here's your divorce, keep the money. Those stories and lots more. Next up on News at 10.
Tomorrow night at 8, an aspiring actor soars to new heights, and it's up, up, and carried away when he lands a role as a superhero. John Ritter stars in Hero at Large, tomorrow at 8.
Governor Michael Dukakis vetoed mandatory sentences for drug dealers. He vetoed the death penalty. His revolving door prison policy gave weekend furloughs to first-degree murderers not eligible for parole. While out, many committed other crimes like kidnapping and rape, and many are still at large. Now Michael Dukakis says he wants to do for America what he's done for Massachusetts. America can't afford that risk.
To us police, how we vote really matters. And all the major police officers and deputy sheriff's associations have endorsed Leo McCarthy for the Senate. 50,000 strong, including a lot of Republicans. Leo McCarthy helped write the life imprisonment law for habitual criminals. Leo McCarthy is for the death penalty, and don't let anyone tell you different. And he's tough on drugs, while his opponent, Senator Pete Wilson, has voted 12 times to cut drug enforcement. We need Leo McCarthy, a senator for us.
Wilson voted against the bill.
Leo McCarthy's ads attacking Pete Wilson are false. Newspapers from Sacramento to San Diego call McCarthy's ads unfounded, false, sordid, smear tactics. The LA Daily News call McCarthy's campaign low-rent character attacks. The truth is, Pete Wilson voted for asbestos cleanup, for a crackdown on toxic polluters, for clean air, and for clean water. The truth is, you won't hear the truth from Leo McCarthy.
George Bush is complaining about Boston Harbor, but Bush's administration cut funds to clean up Boston Harbor. Bush's administration cut funds to clean up our coast, from San Francisco to Southern California. Again and again, beaches have been closed. Bush opposed a crackdown on corporations.
So far, everybody's in good shape. The horses are out so far, and there's lots of horse trailers down the road waiting to help out.
500 firefighters battled the blaze today. They were assisted by heavy ground equipment with water-dropping aircraft. The Los Angeles County and city fire departments were joined in the fight by the United States Forest Service crews. By nightfall, the sound of camp crews at work filled the canyon. They'll spend the rest of the night coal trailing to prevent the flames from spreading. At this hour, there have been no injuries reported, and no structures have been burned.
Tonight, the fire is confined to several hot spots like this one right behind me. But officials say they feel very fortunate because the wind has died down and it has cooled off substantially. In fact, they think that this fire is probably going to burn itself out by tomorrow morning between 8 and 10. At sunrise, they'll start with their water-dropping efforts again. Although arson is strongly suspected, an investigation is being conducted, and 3 men are being detained in connection with this fire. Marta Waller, Channel 5, News at 10.
One fireman was injured while fighting yet another wildfire today in Santa Paula. The crewman suffered injuries to his hand while using a chainsaw. Firefighters from Santa Paula and Ventura County battled that blaze for most of the day before bringing it under control. The fire burned 100 acres of rolling hills and avocado orchards. Some homes in the area were also threatened, but none were lost. A Boeing 707 passenger jet with 51 people aboard has crashed tonight in Rome. That jet Uganda Airlines Flight 775 was en route from London when it went down just short of the runway at Rome's Leonardo da Vinci Airport. Unofficial reports say that 28 people are feared dead in the crash. Witnesses say the airport was shrouded in fog when the plane crashed and exploded in flames. Authorities say they will have to wait until daylight to learn more about that incident. And a small plane crashed at Van Nuys Airport today, but luckily no one was injured. The accident occurred about 10:30 this morning. A student pilot was making a solo run in a single-engine Piper Tomahawk 2. Officials on the scene say the wind may have had something to do with this accident.
Well, the aircraft was coming in for touch-and-go landing. They applied too much rudder, and it veered to the left into the building.
The student pilot walked away from the crash, shaken up but uninjured. The plane, however, was totally demolished. The fire department was on the scene within minutes. Firefighters covered the area around the plane with a thick white foam. They were worried about a possible explosion because that plane was half full of fuel and it crashed into some high-tension wires. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the incident.
And there was a dramatic scene this morning in the Silver Lake area of Los Angeles. A man went berserk and began firing shots through the window of a duplex where members of a family were sleeping inside. Police were called to the scene shortly after 7 this morning when neighbors heard shots. At least 6 rounds were fired. And when police arrived, they found the suspect behind the wheel of a pickup truck in the driveway of the duplex. As police approached, the man produced a rifle and cocked a lever. That's when officers shot. 3 bullets struck the victim. He was given CPR and rushed to the hospital by ambulance. He died on the way. Police then heard cries coming from inside the duplex. They entered and found 3 people had been shot. 1 man was dead, another man and woman were wounded. Neighbors say the suspect had been drinking a lot lately and would get irrational at times. And that's what they think happened this morning. Well, news reports indicate that the Michael Dukakis campaign is targeting 18 states in an effort to win the presidential election. Dukakis himself admits he is the underdog, but says he is not giving up. We have more in this report from Boston.
A stampede of pollsters, pundits, and politicos say he's through. But in his home state of Massachusetts Sunday, Michael Dukakis was still at it with the people, who have yet to register their verdict.
Voters, my friends from all 50 states, who want a president who's on their side and who shares their values.
The Washington Post Sunday painted the Dukakis camp as desperate and suggested that the Democrats' underdog had decided to pin his political future on 18 key states and the District of Columbia. To win under that scenario, Dukakis must take the electoral powerhouses of New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, and California. Add in D.C. and 12 other states where Dukakis is competitive or has the lead, and the governor has 272 electoral votes, 2 more than needed. 7 other states have been put in a possible but not probable category, and a 3rd group, including Texas, are seen as uphill struggles. The Dukakis camp denies, however, it has narrowed its focus to 18 states.
We know we need to continue to campaign very actively in a much broader list in order to get across the popular majority we're going to need. That's what we're going to do, and we have great confidence by doing that, Mike's going to win.
In the heart of Bush country, Dukakis supporters, facing disappointing crowds, remained realistic but not fatalistic.
I think Bush is ahead at the moment in Georgia and probably throughout the country, but it's close, and you can have one event that happens and all of a sudden, bang, it turns around.
But Dukakis aides say their 18-state case is merely a look at how things are going, not a campaign strategy. They note that manpower and resources continue to flow into states considered strong for Bush. Candy Crowley for CNN, Washington.
Meanwhile, in Denver, Vice President Bush says he's encouraged by polls that show him leading the race. But Bush adds he's not overconfident. Bush told reporters today that if elected, he's ready to name cabinet officers quickly. But he denied hints that he has already chosen a cabinet. Bush says he has a transition team working because it's important, he says, to hit the ground running.
So I can tell you that I feel encouraged. Certainly not one scintilla of overconfidence. Keep getting asked that question, and there isn't, on my part of anybody working for us in this campaign. And our people are fired up out in these cities and towns that we were in yesterday, which is all a good sign.
Later in the day, Bush took a bit of time off from serious campaigning. He headed for Mile High Stadium to attend the Broncos football game. And an agreement is expected to be signed tomorrow, allowing the U.S. to maintain military bases in the Philippines. The agreement was reached after months of negotiations between the two countries. Few details of the pact have been released, but it is known that the U.S. has agreed to pay the Philippines $481 million a year.
I think this was a salutary and significant agreement. It should make it possible for us to continue utilizing our military facilities in the Philippines, which play a critically important role in terms of our ability to preserve the peace and maintain a balance of power.
Officials say there is still a couple of minor points in the agreement that need to be worked out, but everything is expected to be in place for tomorrow's signing.
There is much more to come on the Sunday edition of News at 10. Striking Teamsters and Hollywood producers head back to the bargaining tables in an effort to end their two-week strike. The battle over oil drilling along the Southern California coastline is heating up now. We'll tell you all about that, too. And a strong earthquake rumbles through Greece. That story, much more, when Minerva and I come back in just a moment.
Prepare for takeoff, Captain. Power on. There, she ignites in the wink of me eye. Clean and efficient, too, she is. And she does not cost you a fortune to run. Why, there's nothing in the universe as bonny as a new generation gas range. Is that not right, Captain? Power your crew with new energy-efficient gas appliances.
Find hour after hour of incredible savings at Circuit City's Marathon Sale. Save on this Akai 100-watt audio-video control receiver with remote, just $299. This RCA 25-inch color TV with remote, only $438. Find hour after hour of incredible savings. It's the Marathon Sale at Circuit City, the intelligent choice.
What makes great baseball special? Willie Mays' unforgettable catch in Game 154? Is it Reggie Jackson's sensational slugging in 77? 3 pitches, 3 homers. No, it's AM/PM Mini Market's great baseball special in 88. 2 Armour hot dogs with all the fixins you can pile on for just 88 cents. Oh, and Don Larson's perfect game in 56 was pretty special, too. Come into AM/PM now for the great baseball special.
The Southwest Museum contains some of the finest Indian art and artifacts in the country. For information, call 213-221-2163.
A severe earthquake rocked the west coast of Greece today. The impact of the quake destroyed countless buildings and triggered landslides in the surrounding mountains. At least 25 people were injured by falling debris. In some villages, almost half the buildings collapsed. The initial earthquake measured 6 on the Richter scale, and about 30 smaller temblors or aftershocks have rumbled through the region since then. They were centered about 150 miles west of Athens in the Ionian Sea. The streets of a number of small towns are filled with rubble and glass. The government has advised people not to return to hundreds of buildings that are cracked or otherwise damaged. The official report has now been released on the cause of the crash of that Pakistani jetliner in which President Mohammed Zia-ul-Haq was killed. An investigation conducted by a joint U.S.-Pakistani team has concluded that sabotage or other criminal act was responsible for the downing of that plane. The report was released today in Islamabad. Investigators say their probe has ruled out mechanical failure in the crash. They say they discovered large amounts of chemicals during lab tests of debris, chemicals of the kind used to make explosives. The remains of the world's worst oil rig disaster has been lifted out of the North Sea. The Piper Alpha oil rig burst into flames last July, and volunteers are now hoping to find and identify the bodies of 112 missing men. These first pictures of the site were released just today. Officials say it's unlikely that any of the facility's interior structure is still intact, and this will make the search for the bodies that much more difficult and more dangerous. The British government is expected to give its permission for the remains of the rig to be blown up and toppled into the sea.
And oil drilling was the topic at a beach rally today in Pacific Palisades. Hundreds of residents and environmentalists turned out to protest plans by Occidental Oil to begin drilling in the area just 100 feet from the beach.
I grew up down here, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. And I know with oil wells, not only on the beaches, but out in the water, there's a very good chance that it would really destroy our California beaches.
Second,
largest inland find of oil and gas in California in the last 30 years. It's very rich in oil and gas. It would provide enough oil and gas for Los Angeles for a whole year.
Occidental has been trying to drill on this site since 1969, and now, in order to persuade voters, the company says the wells will bring in almost $300 million in tax revenues for the community. Well, striking Teamsters and Hollywood producers today went back to the bargaining table in an effort to end a 2-week contract dispute. Both sides are meeting at the request of a federal mediator. Some 3,000 drivers, electricians, and other workers are on strike following a dispute involving wages and working hours. And in downtown Los Angeles, some county employees spent part of their day off feeding the homeless. They are joining forces with an activist group that wants to help people get off the street. Marta Waller has details.
The line for today's Skid Row dinner filled an alleyway and wound around the corner. This is the Brotherhood Crusade's second annual meal for the homeless.
We also assist agencies that are providing temporary shelter for the homeless, job training, and different kinds of projects that will, in some way, instead of giving them the fish, give them the pole to fish with.
200 County of Los Angeles employees volunteered their time and, in some cases, money. Annie Stevenson is the coordinator for Friends Serving Friends.
So the county employees are used to doing these types of things, and we really mean it. We're really sincere when we say we love our community, we care about our community.
The line moved quickly. People were given lunch boxes with chicken and potatoes, and there were huge sheet cakes with flags. All the food is bought with donations from the Brotherhood Crusade, and a street is closed off so tables and chairs can be set up for dinner. It's a meal that means a lot to people who often don't know where or when they'll eat again.
To show these people some encouragement, I think was a great idea to do this for us, you know?
It really means a lot to the black people. You guys have made it possible for the ones who have been out in the streets, who didn't know where the next meal was coming from.
Organizers say they wanted to do more than just feed 3,000 people a meal on a Sunday afternoon. They wanted to show the homeless community that they really care. But most importantly, they wanted to show the public that the problem of hunger in the central city is here, it's growing, and it isn't going to just disappear. In downtown Los Angeles, Marta Waller, Channel 5, News at 10.
There are reports tonight that 2 Americans have been killed in the fighting in Afghanistan. That story is just ahead on News at 10.
A massive shakeup in the Communist Party predicted for this week in Yugoslavia after months of unrest in that country. And John Paul II celebrates his 10th year as the Pope. We'll show you that, much more after this brief break.
Leonard, Lalonde, November 7th at Caesar's Palace. Call now for tickets.
With just this much tire between you and the road, you need exclusive Bridgestone technology. Bridgestone builds more than tires that perform. Bridgestone builds confidence. So at 65 miles an hour, remember this and remember Bridgestone.
Nice slacks, Charlie. Gonna be ready for the party tonight?
Sure. They'll be done in minutes.
You're kidding.
Who are you talking to?
My friend Charlie. He's a billboard for CNR.
A billboard?
Yep, a billboard. You like my new slacks? Buy slacks at CNR. And if all you need is the bottoms tailored, we'll finish them free while you wait. CNR, because you deserve more.
Mexico. Haven't you waited long enough? Come, feel the warmth of Mexico.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Soviets had sent missiles to Castro.
Tell the freedom riders that were with him.
If it's violence they want, we'll show it to them.
If the South Vietnamese want their independence, they're going to have to get it for themselves.
Don't you worry about Texas, Mr. President.
From the triumph on Election Day to the tragedy in Dallas, Kennedy, a 3-night miniseries coming October 24th to Channel 5.
There are reports tonight that 2 Americans have been killed in the fighting in Afghanistan. Official Afghan radio says the Americans were helping Afghan rebels in the most recent battles with government troops. However, a Western diplomat is skeptical of those reports. In Northern Ireland, one Protestant paramilitary group is claiming responsibility for the murder of the leader of another Protestant extremist group. 47-year-old James Craig was shot by 2 masked gunmen in a loyalist bar in East Belfast this weekend. Today, members of the outlawed Ulster Freedom Fighters said Craig was assassinated because he betrayed the goals of his organization, the Ulster Defense Association. In Yugoslavia, thousands of Serbs filled the streets of Belgrade today in a mass demonstration. The huge crowd was protesting the treatment of Serbs in a neighboring province and the government's handling of the economy. It was only the latest rally by Serbian nationals who are demanding more control over the Serbian Republic. The nation's crisis will culminate tomorrow in a government meeting where a political shakeup could change the country's leadership. The Soviet leader, Mikhail Gorbachev, cut the ribbon today, opening a major Italian trade fair in Moscow. Some 200 Italian companies are represented at the trade show. The fair is part of an ongoing project between Italy and the Soviet Union aimed at opening trade markets between the East Bloc and Western Europe.
In Tokyo, Emperor Hirohito remains in stable condition tonight, but palace officials say the doctors are worried about the emperor's worsening anemia and jaundice. Doctors report that the 87-year-old monarch is still discharging small amounts of blood. Hirohito was given another pint of blood today, another transfusion. Thus far, the emperor has received almost 18 pints of blood since he first became ill last month. Well, Pope John Paul II today celebrated his 10th anniversary after becoming the first Polish pontiff in history. Thousands gathered in Vatican City as the Pope led a procession through St. Peter's Square. John Paul II used the occasion to beatify 3 priests who lived and worked in the 19th century. Church officials say 50 bishops from Poland and 10,000 pilgrims from around the world traveled to Rome especially for this ceremony. During the past decade, Pope John Paul II has made trips to 73 countries and 74 pastoral visits within Italy itself. In West Germany, authors and publishers are gathering for an annual book fair. At stake, millions of dollars in publishing rights. We have more from Frankfurt.
It is the event of the year for the publishing industry. The Frankfurt Book Fair is where publishers from around the world buy and sell book rights worth millions.
That's why you get this smell of slight hysteria here, because we're all running around chasing each other as fast as we can go to see what's good and if we can get it first. It's very, very competitive.
That competition translates to big bucks for popular authors.
In the past, you go back 20 years, and I don't think authors took European rights all that seriously. Today they do. It's a big market.
American books seem to have more than their share of that market, and the sale of foreign publishing rights means dramatic profits for U.S. authors.
They can, if handled properly, and if the book has international appeal, they can double his income.
The European hunger for American books sometimes defies the understanding of even the publishers. Take, for instance, Lee Iacocca's book. At first, it was difficult to find a foreign publisher who wanted it, since few people outside the U.S. knew of Iacocca.
One publisher took the risk, and within 3 months, the book was on the top of the bestseller list in London, and we've sold over 100,000 copies in the British Isles.
U.S. publishers say American books are popular overseas because of an interest in America. And they say the global transmission of U.S. television has increased that interest. Brad White, CNN, Frankfurt.
And just ahead on News at 10, we will show you a rather wild and woolly method of predicting the weather. Plus, Minerva's going to have a more conventional forecast for us.
I'll certainly give you that. And we'll take you to autumn in New England, where you might say the trees tell the tale. That and more right after this.
Pretty.
To find out if the carpet that I just bought from you has this stain protection that's locked in the fiber, you know, before the fiber becomes a carpet. What do you mean it's not locked in that way unless it's a wear-dated carpet? But a wear-dated carpet isn't what you sold me. Well, what's mine then? Sprayed on? Only sprayed on the carpet? Excuse me.
Honey, take it easy.
It's only a carpet.
Wear-dated carpet. Stain protection locked in before the carpet's a carpet.
You may think a waterbed isn't for you, but Sealy thinks it is. Introducing the Sealy Posturepedic Waterbed at Sun Valley. Built to Sealy's high-quality standards, lightweight, waveless, with comfort features that'll give you a better night's sleep, like separate his and hers firmness control. And right now at Sun Valley, all Sealy Posturepedic waterbeds are $100 off, with no money down, no payments, and free financing for 6 months. Plus, we'll give you a free bed frame and free delivery, only at Sun Valley Waterbeds.
Betty, Edison says we have choices on how we manage our electric bills.
We have?
Sure, Betty.
Good. I could update my heating and cooling. I could use one of my appliances less, like my piano.
Betty, the piano is not an appliance.
Then how come my neighbor says every time I play the piano, he blows a fuse?
To learn more about your choices, call Edison, and together we can brighten the future.
The Home Club Challenge, September 28th. National Lumber sells the Intermatic wall switch timer for $15.99. A good price. September 29th. Builders Emporium beats National Lumber by 6%. Home Depot is 12% lower. But every day, Home Club non-members save over 28% on the exact same item. And Home Club members save even more. Proving once again that at the Home Club, you save on everything, every day.
For those of you who missed the excitement of the Summer Olympics, especially the track and field competitions, cheer up because we have some highlights of a major competition that was held this weekend, the Caterpillar races. The games were held in North Carolina, featuring the Woolly Worm. This year's winner was named Speedy. He beat out 479 other competitors. We are told had to pass a drug test to see if he was using any anabolic steroids to claim a $500 prize for his 7-year-old winner, the Woolly Worm, passing a test ran of, who wrote that?
I would have liked to be there.
Somebody putting this in. By the way, remember, the folks in North Carolina use the winner of the race to help them predict what kind of weather to expect, kind of, as we said, an unconventional way of predicting the weather. And according to an analysis of Speedy's coloring, the people in Banner Elk, that's the name of the town, are gearing up for 5 weeks of cold and snow this winter.
Ooh.
So that's one way of predicting the weather. I'm happy to say that you don't use that same method.
Well, what I was going to say at the top of my story was that we predicted it, this hot weather,
yes,
yesterday, last night.
That's right.
We sure did, and boy, did we get it.
Yep.
I'll tell you about the highs around the LA basin in a minute, but first, a little about why it was so warm here today. It's because of a high pressure that's still sitting over Nevada, producing for us those warm, very warm Santa Ana winds. So it'll seem even a little warmer tomorrow because those winds aren't going to die just yet. But by midweek, we may feel cooler weather thanks to a new weather system from the north. Elsewhere today, there was rain in the Ohio Valley. There were very high winds over the northern Rockies. Some got to as high as 62 miles per hour. And the Pacific Northwest is dealing with a cold front that will eventually push on down to us. But right now, here in the LA area, the temperature at the Civic Center, as a matter of fact, is a mild 71 degrees. The humidity right now is 66%. The barometric pressure is rising, and the winds are from the east at 7 miles per hour. And this was today's high at the LA Civic Center, 91 degrees, and it felt like it, too. In other areas, like Arcadia, it must have been about 100 degrees today. The low overnight was 60. Predictions for tomorrow look like this. In the valleys, more sunshine will prevail, very clear skies, with highs once again between the 90s and 100-degree range. Near the coast, look for low morning fog, giving way to hazy sunshine by afternoon. The highs there will range between the 70s and 80s further inland. And in the mountains, you'll find sunny but breezy conditions tomorrow. The highs at the resorts will be in the 70s. And for the deserts, well, very little changes expected. Continued sunny and hot, highs once again in the mid-90s. And here are some high and low temperatures in and around the Southern California area for tomorrow. It's going to be hot around Riverside and Palm Springs, no surprise there. In the days ahead, continued hot, but we'll see a cooling trend by midweek. And it comes to tonight's slide. It's a beautiful sunset from the Tigris River in Baghdad, Iraq, and that's really surprising. It's such a calming picture when you consider all the bloodshed we usually see on TV in Iraq. Our thanks tonight to Dennis Heidebrecht of Huntington Beach. You know, we've had some beautiful slides sent to us lately, but we could use more. Keep sending them to KTLA, P.O. Box 500, LA 90078. And it's going to be a good start to a new week, weather-wise anyway. Make it a good one. Larry?
According to religion and ancient lore, the Tigris River, the Tigris and the Euphrates are supposed to be the seat of civilization, where Adam and Eve first...
That's right, very biblical.
Yeah. What about the fires now? Are the Santa Ana winds going to continue?
Well, if they continue, probably they'll, you know,
yeah, it'll make it more difficult. Yeah. Well, it seems like summertime here, but it is autumn in New England, Minerva, and for most of us, that phrase conjures up all wonderful images of changing colors of the leaves and everything. But this hasn't been a particularly good year in the Northeast for that kind of thing, and as Howard Nielsen reports, visitors to New England might be in for something of a disappointment.
In a good foliage year, the colors, especially the red maple leaves, have a brilliance caused by a combination of climate conditions. Dry weather this year has given the colors a pastel softness, and there have not been the bright sunny days followed by cool nights needed to create dramatic colors. There are also man-made causes.
This past summer, we had our highest recorded ozone levels, and this is indicative that air pollution is reaching even the most remote parts of the Northeast. And this results in lower light intensities and lower ability of the tree to function.
The foliage season has become a very important part of the economy of northern New England. Hundreds of thousands of tourist dollars are pumped into the region each fall.
We get nearly 1 million visitors coming to the state. That's almost twice the population of the state. In terms of dollars, it's somewhere around $80 million that it brings into our economy, into the state economy.
New England foliage is at its height in the mountains of Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont around Columbus Day. It then works its way down into Massachusetts, finishing up in Connecticut and Rhode Island the end of October. Autumn in New England, a time of country drives, strolling down wooded lanes, pretty pictures, and the glory of nature. Howard Nielsen, CNN, Woodstock, Vermont.
Ah, but it's still so pretty. A new study predicts a population explosion in the Americans 65 and over. We'll have that story coming up in just a minute here on News at 10. We'll also show you some Hot Wheels at a rare car show that's taking place in Brentwood, coming up in a minute. And we will have a story that gives new meaning to the phrase, look before you leap. Minerva and Speedy and I come back in just a minute.
Mercedes-Benz. So precisely engineered, it is comparable to the supersonic Concorde. And so handsomely designed, it echoes the elegance of the QE2. Now, thanks to our world-class test drive sweepstakes, you just might win one of 8 world-class trips for 2 to Europe on British Airways Supersonic Concorde. Visit the Mercedes-Benz European Delivery Center in West Germany and return on the elegant QE2. The world-class test drive sweepstakes, only at a participating authorized Southern California Mercedes-Benz dealer.
Find hour after hour of incredible savings at Circuit City's Marathon Sale. Save on 3 top brand washers. This Frigidaire large capacity is just $279. This Whirlpool 5-cycle, only $349. And Maytag's custom push button, just $399. Every washer and dryer is on sale now through Monday. At Circuit City, the intelligent choice.
They're legendary outlaws.
We rob banks.
Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty are Bonnie and Clyde. Monday at 8 here on Channel 5.
Some surprising new figures have just been released on growing old in America. A new study on aging indicates that by the year 2040, 1/4 of the U.S. population will be age 65 or older. Now, that's 3 times higher than the current level. The study also shows that in 50 years, or 50 years from now, 24 million Americans will be over the age of 85. Other predictions of the study, for instance, that the average life expectancy of American men by 2040 will be 87 years. For women, a little better news, it'll be 92 years. Currently, the average man lives to the age of 70 and the average woman to 78. The study was conducted by USC and the National Institutes of Health. Well, beef eating has always been associated with high fat content and calories. But now there is a new brand of beef designed for health-conscious eaters like myself. Beef promoters say this beef is the best money can buy, at about $9 a pound. But the company says the meat only was slightly more fat than a piece of fish the same size.
The new trend with beef is to reduce the percentage of saturated fat and thus the body's ability to create cholesterol from the saturated fat. So if this indeed is possible, then we're left with a very good source of protein and iron and things that are actually good for the body.
The special beef comes from a ranch in South Dakota where cattle are bred to produce low-fat meat. The cattle themselves are kept on a special diet with no hormones or antibiotics. And water therapy for the disabled isn't unheard of, but for the most part, uncommon here in the United States. However, one Connecticut doctor is making great strides with swimming, as we see in this report.
Now I'm going to put you through the circle. Okay, lateral flex to the right. Okay, now hold that motion. Hold it, hold it, hold it.
Milford physical therapist Mike Gavin is breaking new ground these days with the healing effects of water exercise. Although water therapy is centuries old and practiced in European countries, Gavin is the first American to treat disabled and back injury patients with his own procedure called MSF. This stands for the utilization of a mask, snorkel, and fins to remedy mobility and circulation without strain.
While you're in the pool, I have no pain whatsoever.
I think it's one of the best therapy programs that I've seen. I'm coming here personally because I am hurt, and every time I get out, I'm a lot looser.
The therapy is especially beneficial for people who are confined to a wheelchair and can only be flexible in near weightlessness conditions.
The buoyancy, the tranquility, which produces relaxation, is what is so gratifying to people who exercise in the water. The most unique thing about water exercises is you're reducing the compression and torque forces on the musculoskeletal system.
Doctors say aquatic therapy is just now becoming more popular in America. Mr. Gavin hopes to expand his practice by teaching more therapists his water techniques. For now, though, he's happy to be riding the crest of a new wave of therapy that's giving some relief to hundreds of people who are suffering from all sorts of aches and pains. Dwayne Schenk for CNN.
Back here at home in Brentwood, owners of Morgan Cars today staged an exhibit to show off the rare vehicles, the Morgan. The Morgan is a sports car that was has been, in fact, in England by hand since 1910. The company now produces only about 12 cars a week. Some 2,000 of the unusual Morgans are thought to survive here in the United States. They're rarely ever seen on the highway, but they can be found in special car shows like the one you're looking at now. Morgan owners are proud of their vehicles, justifiably, built in a style that has remained virtually unchanged since the 1930s, the Morgan. In Chicago, some hardy men and women today lined up for a chance to get beaten up and blown to bits. Well, theatrically speaking anyway. Hundreds turned out to audition for roles as stunt performers in Disney theme parks. It's a rough and tumble game, and some participants are understandably a little bit nervous.
I feel that the audition went well for what they had me do. I had just to do some basic tumbling, and it felt really well. But the hardest part right now is just waiting, because they take everything, they pass your resume down the line, and then they're going for certain looks.
I was a little nervous. I was shaking. I don't think I've ever been so nervous just doing a dive roll.
The performers were also photographed and interviewed. The ones who are selected will get a one-year contract with the world of Disney and possibly, they hope, a boost for their careers. In West Virginia, it was look before you leap time at an annual parachute jump this weekend. About 300 people took the plunge at the New River Gorge Bridge. Now, this span is 876 feet above the water. It is the second highest such bridge in North America. Officials say about 150,000 people watched the event. And although one jumper was killed last year, we're told that no serious injuries were reported on this particular weekend. I'd still rather be there watching than participating in that, in that particular stunt. Well, it was another big day for the Dodgers. In fact, it was a big day for a lot of local teams. Sunday Sports Page and Ed Arnold's got it all.
Well, I'll tell you, the first thing we're going to talk about, and you know what it is, no last-minute heroics for the Dodgers tonight in Game 2 of the Fall Classic. L.A. struck early and hard, then called on the Big O to blank the powerful Athletics. Also on the Sunday Sports Page, you'll see the mixed results from our local NFL teams, plus auto racing and more. With Page 1, all World Series Game 2, and it was the Dodger power with the golden arm of Oral Hershiser that has the locals up 2-0. Details follow.
Only 2 imports have enough room to be classified as large cars by the EPA. There's this one, the Rolls-Royce Silver Spur Limousine, and this one, the Saab 9000. The people who buy this car pay others to drive for them. The people who buy Saabs never let anyone else drive.
Buy or lease one of the most intelligent cars ever built at your local Saab dealers today.
My new shirt. Mom's gonna kill me. No problem. That's what washing machines are for, right? Right.
Another unreported stain. You know, the kind your family doesn't tell you about till it's through the dryer and set for life. That's why you should add Biz Bleach to every wash load to find many unreported stains and lift them up and away. Even though unreported stains have a way of slipping into your wash, they can't get by Biz.
Weekly specials at some supermarkets may look exciting, but in a few days, they're gone. At Lucky, we offer you substantial savings on over 1,200 key buys every day. And most key buys are good for over 3 weeks with no quantity limits.
Our Dare to Compare price survey number 10 proved once again, key buys help keep Lucky the low price leader.
Hot weekly specials burn out fast, but Lucky key buys are built to last.
This portion of the Sunday Sports Page is brought to you by the Los Angeles area Midas Muffler and Brake Shops. For mufflers, brake shocks, and struts, see the experts at Midas.
Don't be surprised if Oral Hershiser takes up another sport as a hobby. My goodness, kind of like Bo Jackson. First, the Dodgers ace won 23 games over a season, which included a record-breaking 59 scoreless inning streak. Then in the championship series, the Bulldog hurled his way to Most Valuable Player honors. Tonight, in Game 2 of the World Series, the Big O cruised on the mound and in the batter's box. Oral's parents, the Little League Parents of the Year, threw out tonight's first pitch. But on the field, the game's first highlight came from deep in the hole. Walt Weiss made a great play on Jeff Hamilton's grounder. But the night belonged to Oral Leonard Hershiser IV. His first hit started a Dodgers rally. Later in the third inning, against Athletic starter Storm Davis, Franklin Stubbs grounded a single to right, which brought home Hershiser with the game's first run. The next batter was Mickey Hatcher, who had a seeing eye single up the middle. Steve Sax scored 2-0. Still in the third inning, the big blow then came to the plate in the person of Mike Marshall. With 2 runners on, Moose drove a Davis offering to deep left field. Dave Parker looked up, leaped, but to no avail. The Dodgers stretched their lead to 5 runs to the delight of L.A. cheerleaders, Stubbs, Hatcher, and manager Tommy Lasorda. Tonight, though, Hershiser took the spotlight. He gave up just 3 hits and became the first pitcher to throw shutouts in the championship and World Series. Big O had 8 strikeouts. Oral picked up as many hits as he allowed and thus became the first pitcher since Art Neff in 1924 to tally 3 hits in a World Series game. His 4th inning double sent Storm Davis to the showers and scored Alfredo Griffin. On the mound, Oral cruised through the 6th inning, throwing just 5 pitches with an easy ground out to retire Walt Weiss. The Bulldog notched hit number 3 in the bottom of the inning. He lined another double, this time into the glove of a waiting fan in left. A nice souvenir. Oral's only the 6th pitcher in series history to get 3 hits. With Lasorda still cheering, Hershiser faced Don Baylor, retired him on strikes in the 8th to bring the packed house to its feet. But tonight's excitement really came to a peak in the 9th inning as Oral closed the books on Dave Parker and the Athletics. The final out, win number 2 in the books, an amazing streak by an amazing pitcher. And Stu Nahan was at Dodger Stadium for all the excitement.
I can't remember the last time Oral Hershiser gave up a run. I think it was in Game 3 of the series against the Mets. Remember, he blanked them in relief. He blanked them when he clinched the National League pennant against the Mets last Wednesday. Tonight, he throws a shutout. Hershiser not only gave up just 3 hits, all to the same guy, Dave Parker, but he got as many hits as he gave up. He himself had a single and a couple of doubles. What else can this guy do? Maybe he can sweep up the place after we get through. Oral Hershiser, quite a job.
I think the key to the night in the middle innings after we got the big lead, I was able to throw some change-ups, throw some slow curves, throw some fastballs inside, and I really don't want to expose everything in a game like this because I might be out there in Game 5, Game 6, Game 7, and you've got to have some repertoire left to show this Oakland team.
We see number 55 on the mound. There's just, it brings the confidence level way up. We love to play behind him. We know that if we score some early runs, he's going to be tough to beat.
I just shake my head every time I go out there. I mean, he's just amazing. And I just have no words for it. It's just that he's amazing. What can you say?
He gave up as many hits tonight as he got himself.
He did, but he's a lucky hitter.
That's all he wants to talk about.
He's lucky. It's just like I say, you just hope that the pitcher hits your bat, and he hit his bat 3 times.
And I'm thankful that I'm the manager to be able to say that this young man pitched for me, and I'm thankful that I was around, alive, to see this performance.
He's very tough, has good stuff, and good idea how to pitch. Very competitive. Looking forward to another shot at him.
Who has an advantage on Tuesday? You know the Dodger hitters. You played here for so many years. They know you, what you can throw. Who has an advantage?
I don't think anybody has an advantage.
Really?
You know, I mean, you make good pitches, you have a much better chance to be successful. You just try to go out there and stay within yourself and just let the abilities that the good Lord has given you come out and have trust in Him and go out and try to pitch your type of ball game.
That's the story. The Dodgers winning at 6-0 to take a 2-0 series lead. Now the Dodgers go up to the Bay Area for games 3, 4, and 5 if necessary. It'll be John Tudor going against Bob Welch in game number 3 on Tuesday. Who knows? Maybe Hershiser will be in the bullpen. From Dodger Stadium, I'm Stu Nahan, Channel 5 Sunday Sports Page.
Had a nice trip up to Oakland. When we come back, pro football as the 49ers out-ram the Rams in the running game, and the outcome favors the boys from the north. And Bo is back, making his return in Kansas City, of all places. The NFL rundown next on page 2.
On highway or off, all the tire between you and the road is this, about the width of your finger. That's why you need exclusive Bridgestone technology. Every Bridgestone tire is quality engineered from the ground up. So Bridgestone builds more than tires that perform. Bridgestone builds confidence. On highway or off-road, remember this. And remember Bridgestone.
Buy the same tires that Roger Mears wins on. Check your yellow pages for the Bridgestone dealer nearest you.
With this lie detector, I'll prove this great-looking Isuzu is a better pickup than Toyota. It has more standard features than Toyota. It has a double-walled cargo bed, steel-belted radials, and a 5-speed transmission. Toyota doesn't. Yet it's priced hundreds less than Toyota. See? You can trust me.
Act now and save even more with a $500 factory cash rebate on any Isuzu pickup.
Nobody can tell you what a complete and thorough brake job will cost until they inspect your car. Nobody. But some places promise low prices without making it clear what it includes. Midas makes it clear. For $79, we'll install new brake shoes or pads, inspect hydraulic system, resurface drums or rotors, repack non-sealed wheel bearings, and replace needed grease seals and fluid. So if you need brakes, remember, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
He was young, Irish, and Catholic. He gave us the new frontier, filled with promise. It was a time of Camelot and Castro, of civil rights for all men, and a war no one could win. Kennedy.
The torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century, and the glow of the fire can light the world.
A KTLA premiere miniseries coming October 24th to Channel 5.
Boy, if there's one team that's frustrated the Rams during Coach John Robinson's tenure, that club would most certainly be the 49ers. San Francisco has beaten his club 7 of 10 times. Coming into today's game with their 5-1 record, the Rams appeared ready to atone for some of those losses. Last year, Jerry Rice was one-man destruction team. Before that, the 49ers used Roger Craig's multiple skills to attack defenses. Today, he was just plain relentless. 46 yards after the snap, it was 7-0 San Francisco. What a run by Craig. The Rams came right back after Gaston Green ran the kickoff back 40 yards. Jim Everett hooked up with Aaron Cox on a 44-yard bomb to even the score at 7. Before the half, though, Craig pushed over from 7 yards with disdain for the defense. San Francisco led it 17-7 at the intermission. However, the third quarter belonged to the Rams. Everett to Henry Ellard, and it was only 17-14. Then a little defense put the ball right back in Everett's hands. Johnny Johnson with the interception of the Joe Montana pass. The 49ers only totaled 12 yards of offense in that third period. Everett cashed in the turnover for points. A toss to Buford McGee, who just dove across. The Rams reclaimed the lead at 21-17. Unfortunately, this is not hockey where they play 3 periods. Nursing bruised ribs, Montana returned to the game, drove the Niners 93 yards. Craig capped it with a 16-yard game-winning run. 190 yards rushing for Craig, a personal high. The 11th straight road win for the 49ers, equaling an NFL record. And the 2 most salient points, Montana has won all 7 of his starts at Anaheim, and this win knocked the Rams into second place. Minus the services of All-Pros Howie Long and Todd Christensen, the Raiders look to quarterback Jay Schrader and the return of Bo Jackson to lead an injury-plagued team to victory in Kansas City today. But with the chips on the line, a healthy Schrader had to watch Steve Berline call the signals for L.A. Jackson returned to his hobby in the town of his baseball career. And just in time to see fellow Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Allen tie Fred Biletnikoff for the Raiders team record for touchdowns with 77. The one-yard score, 7-0 Raiders. Jackson's return was a successful one. He carried 21 times for 70 yards and set up the second Raiders score. That score came on 3rd and goal as the other running back, Steve Smith, ran off left end in for the touchdown, 14-0 LA in the second. Journeyman quarterback Steve DeBerg has landed in Kansas City. Today, connected on 16 of 30 passes for 269 yards, including that 48-yarder to Paul Palmer, 14-7 at the half. Schrader was ineffective as he hit on just 7 of 17 pass attempts, so Eder Berline, who sparked the Raiders, he linked up with Trey Junkin. He was 4 for 7 for 70 yards. With the game already in hand, the Raiders looked to the bulldozer, who drilled his way in from a yard out and showed off his baseball arm afterwards. The final margin, 10 points. Van McElroy had a pair of interceptions for the Raiders, but the big question is, who will Coach Mike Shanahan have call the signals next week in New Orleans? The Rams are in second place because the Saints handle Seattle. Bobby Hebert, 19 yards to Eric Martin, a 7-3 lead. The play that broke it open came in the third quarter. Gene Atkins blocked Norm Johnson's field goal attempt. Dave Waymer scooped it up and raced 58 yards for the touch that put the Saints in front 17-9. The rash of injuries around the league has been well chronicled today. The injury bug nearly struck the media. The pass for Brian Blades is incomplete, but watch. Oh, get out the way next time, friend. The photographer got nailed. He's said to be okay. Kelly Stauffer threw for 370 yards, but the Seahawks' late charge came up short. John Elway is the latest quarterback felled by injury, a sprained knee and ankle. Gary Kubiak filled in and led the Broncos to victory. The unbeaten Cincinnati Bengals were in Foxborough today to take on a 2-4 New England Patriots team that lost to the Green Bay Packers last week by 6 touchdowns. But if you put money down on this one, I've got bad news for you. The Patriots took a 7-0 lead in the first when Robert Perryman fumbled in the end zone, but John Stevens was there for the room service touchdown. Quarterback Boomer Esiason heads the Bengals' top-ranked offense, but Boomer was downright offensive today. Watch this one. Raymond Claiborne tipped it. Fred Marion intercepted it. Then wide receiver Chris Collingsworth snatched it back while in the air. A great effort to no avail. The refs called it an interception. Esiason lives by the pass. Today he died by it. 5 interceptions for Boomer. Tim Jordan's pickoff in the second quarter set up a Mosi Tutupu score, 14-0 New England. The second half, the Bengals came within 6 until Reggie Dupard ran in the second of his 2 touchdowns to put it away for the Patriots. Bengals now lose. They drop to 6-1. Patriots quarterback Doug Flutie is turning into a real hero back in New England. Today, he was 10 for 14 for 165 yards, but the victory. Elsewhere, the Dolphins' offense is back on track. 329 yards for Dandy Dan Marino today. Oilers quarterback Warren Moon returned from a shoulder injury to throw a pair of touchdowns for Houston. Tampa Bay quarterback Vinny Testaverde threw for 469 yards and 2 touchdowns, but still lost. Remember this name, Mark Rippon. The Redskins quarterback today tossed 4 touchdowns against the Cards. He is for real. The Bears defeated the Cowboys, whose quarterback Steve Pallure suffered a concussion. The Giants improved their record to 4-3 with a win over Detroit. The Browns sacked Eagles quarterback Randall Cunningham 9 times. Browns receiver Webster Slaughter suffered a broken arm. The Packers earned their second upset special of the year, this one over the Vikings. Tomorrow night, a big AFC East clash as Jim Kelly and the Bills take on the Jets. Let's take a brief break, then turn to auto racing with 2 good-sized races today, one at Laguna Seca. A nice change of pace will then take us to Santa Anita, where the Oak Tree meet had a hefty feature. That and more on page 3 next.
Nice slacks, Charlie. Gonna be ready for the party tonight?
Sure. They'll be done in minutes.
You're kidding.
Who are you talking to?
My friend Charlie. He's a billboard for CNR.
A billboard?
Yeah, a billboard. You like my new slacks?
Buy slacks at CNR. And if all you need is the bottoms tailored, we'll finish them free while you wait. CNR, because you deserve more.
Mexico. Come to where the sun warms your spirit and the people warm your heart. Come, feel the warmth of Mexico.
The Home Club Challenge, September 28th
National Lumber sells the Intermatic wall switch timer for $15.99. A good price. September 29th, Builders Emporium beats National Lumber by 6%. Home Depot is 12% lower. But every day, Home Club non-members save over 28% on the exact same item. And Home Club members save even more, proving once again that at the Home Club, you save on everything, every day.
Former UCLA golfer Corey Pavin missed the PGA record for 72 holes by 2 strokes when he finished the Texas Open at San Antonio with a 21 under par 259. Robert Wren finished second. At Ireland, a 50-to-1 long shot took the $1 million Dunhill Cup at St. Andrews, Scotland. The kart Indy cars were racing at Laguna Seca outside Monterey, California, and watch what happened when Tony Bettenhausen tried to pass Dale Coyne. Coyne wishes he had let Bettenhausen by. Coyne suffered a concussion, was taken to a nearby hospital for further examination and observation. Danny Sullivan went on to win the race to clinch his first kart championship. Michael Andretti was second. Mario finished third. The hit and run was on at the Holly Farms 400 in North Carolina. Watch carefully. Rusty Wallace, who dropped out of the lead earlier, roared back at his Pontiac to duel it out with Jeff Bodine on the final lap. With Wallace ahead on turn 1, Bodine tapped the Missouri native with his Chevrolet and passed him. But Wallace reciprocated on turn 3 with a tap of his own. Bodine skidded sideways when it happened, and Wallace pulled away with the win for now at least. NASCAR officials will be viewing tapes of the race and its angry finish. Phil Parsons came in second. Bodine was third. From race cars to race horses, the ponies were racing for the $150,000 added purse in the Las Palmas at Santa Anita in the Oak Tree meet.
And Anna O'Connor leading it by a length and a half with 100 yards to run. Goodbye Halo can't go with her. And it's Anna O'Connor and Corey Black to win the Las Palmas.
No Review took second. Goodbye Halo earned the show dough. In the National Hockey League, the Kings had the night off. They'll be up in Calgary tomorrow night to face the Flames. Just 4 games tonight. The Oilers and Jets tied. 2 goals in the third, won it for Quebec. Hall of Famer Guy Lafleur scored his first goal since coming back from retirement, his first score since 1984. And Boston's Cam Neely touted a hat trick. For tonight's headline plays, it's back to the NFL. Quarterback Mark Rippon connects with Art Monk. Denver's Gary Kubiak, subbing for John Elway, came up with the big play to Steve Sewell. And then it's one more look at that amazing run by Roger Craig.
Hats off to the heroes. Everyone loves what you do. So here's looking at you. This is your big night. You're in the spotlight. Everyone is watching you. Watching all the dreams come true. Hats off to the heroes.
Speaking of legends, Jimmy Connors won his 107th Grand Prix tennis tournament with a win in France. Martina Navratilova defeated Chris Evert to win a tournament in West Germany. And a reminder, Stu Nahan will be in Oakland with the Dodgers. We'll have his report beginning tomorrow night. Larry?
Okay, thank you, Eddie. And finally, here in Hollywood, a new art exhibit is giving more than just lip service to the theme of celebrity. It offers an unusually personal look at some of the world's most famous faces. Here's the story.
This 400-foot mural featuring the faces of the famous from Hope to Madonna is called 7 Days of Frowning.
I mean, it's different. Way out, right?
Unusual, unique.
Yeah, right.
And what's the thing with the toothbrushes? I mean, there's got to be a story here somewhere. Well, that's our cue. Once upon a time, artist Mark Schilder thought about celebrities, you know, those folks we put on pedestals, and then he thought
that they were all human beings. And so I needed a common thread, a way to tie them all in together.
He could have used dental floss, but for this painting, he used brushes, toothbrushes, that is. The artist sent requests to 150 notables asking for their used toothbrushes. Now, more than 60 agreed, with some even sending notes of authenticity.
Some of the people that I got a chance to talk to, like Cher, she has a Radius toothbrush. Well, these toothbrushes cost $12. Now, who would pay $12 for a toothbrush? Thank you, Cher.
Some that gave the artist the brush off, Steven Spielberg, Nancy Reagan, and Gregory Peck. But Kermit sent his, and frogs don't even have teeth.
I don't see any meaning to a toothbrush.
The artist is trying to say, you know, are we going to save ourselves? I mean, you know, this is, I mean, look at the shape the world is in. You know, the violence, you know, the urban decay.
Well, close. Gloria Hillard, CNN Entertainment News, Hollywood.
But what kind of toothbrush do you use?
Well,
that's what we all want to know.
Since they didn't ask for our toothbrushes, I'm going to take my mouth and go home. Show them.
Well, that does it for another weekend edition of News at 10. Thanks for joining us, and have a good week.
And I'll be back here tomorrow night with my mouse and not with my toothbrush, along with Hal Fishman and Jan Carl. Ed's going to be here, too, and the rest of the Channel 5 news team. Join us then. Good night.
Good night, everyone.